Hi, welcome to Santa Cruzin. And here we are with this, we got a special Brotherhood member in the studio today with us, George, Crazy George Dumes. We call him Grumpy half the time, I don't know why, but George has consented to come into the studio and share some of his experience with the Brotherhood of Eternal Love. And he was pretty much on the front lines out there doing all the work. You know, we were the worker mules, us guys, and through the whole thing. And he was also Dick Dale's original drummer, Dick Dale and the Deltones, and that was in the
Second one.
the second one. What the hell you mean the second one? The second?
Drummer.
Oh, the second drummer.
Yeah.
Oh, he was the second drummer with the Deltones.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll show a clip down the road, and we got a Orange Sunshine clip that they're making this movie right now, a documentary on the Brotherhood, and me and George and a few people have told some stories and that and stuff like that. And so a lot of people don't know who the Brotherhood of Eternal Love is actually, and they were like around in the 60s, and we were the biggest distributors of LSD and hashish and marijuana in the world at that time, and worked with Osley and all of those people the same time, same era, same game, but we kept our cards a little closer to the chest and didn't let too many people know our names or our games. And so now that the story's coming out and the Senate investigating's over right now because of the last case 2 years ago, then we can tell our stories and they can't do anything to us and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, that brings us here to now and at this time. And then so George, what was like the Brotherhood to you, man? What was it when you first got involved with that? I know you came in with Gordon, right, Black Bart, and you guys came into that scene together. And what was it all to you? What was the meaning of it?
Oh gosh, after that shop, Mystic Arts World was a beautiful 7-room psychedelic shop.
Yeah, and that
in Laguna Beach, and on the right-hand side going north, on the left going south. And pretty much it was, just love. I mean,
sharing love, peace, yeah. And then so everybody Laguna was like a artist community and stuff, poets and everything, and so they channeled that into the Mystic Arts World. Was actually a health food store, a bead shop, a head shop, a clothing, pottery,
eternal love.
and eternal love, and then they sold, of course, pot and
That's it.
acid and psychedelics too,
And everybody's in the Brotherhood.
yeah, man,
And
it
the
was.
soul on this planet, sitting down, standing up, or laying down. It isn't.
Oh, that's true, man. It's like everything is totally connected, and that's what I found out, and that's what all the rest of us brothers found out when we first took acid. I mean, we'd smoked pot before and took reds and all these other drugs, heroin, every drugs, cocaine, blah, blah, blah. When we took acid, and here's a story. Not too many people know this story. I don't even know if George knows this, but Johnny Griggs, J.C. Tunnel, hardly anybody in the all these guys that claim to be in the Brotherhood don't know who J.C. Tunnel is. J.C. Tunnel was Tommy Tunnel's brother, his older brother, and Freddie Tunnel's was their younger brother, and they were John Griggs' cousin.
Yeah.
Okay, they came from Texas or Oklahoma together. Their family into Orange County back in those days. Well, JC's the guy that got the gun for when John wanted to go into Hollywood and rip off some drugs. They were all heroin addicts at the time living in the French quarters. So Tommy went with him and Eddie Spaghetti and a few of these guys, and JC got him the gun, right? So they go up there and then they rip off these producers for this, and they gave them LSD because that's all they had, and then they came back to Orange County. Well, when I was in jail for the Brotherhood thing in '71 on Johnny Griggs or Joe Buffalo, I was in jail, Orange County Jail, for the Brotherhood indictment, and Joe Buffalo told me that Johnny were in the bathroom, and John's kid took the first dose. He was 2 years old, took the first hit, and they wondered what it was. So John was going to blow himself away, had a .38 pointed up against his head, man, going, dude, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And so Joe said, hey, take some and see what it is, and let's find out what it is. So, of course, they went and got JC to take some. JC was the guy up in front, the up front guy, jump out there and let's get it done, and then so JC took some and he said, this is God, man. And then so everybody else took it, and from then they went back to the producers and worked out a deal and stuff like that, and then they started the Brotherhood along the lines of Jesus. And it was it was at that time, that was only one of the sources that we could relate to from our Christian upbringing in Orange County. John Birch, headquarters of the world, if it's white, it's right, and all that. So we pretty much we incorporated the Jesus love and got rid of the doctrine of all of the churches and the religions, and we pushed love, and love was sharing. And then as we evolved, we got into self-realization with Paramahansa Yogananda, and then all the other holy men and stuff as the Eastern religions kind of.
Anybody that gets on a stage and can say, I'm going to check out after this speech and do it.
Hey, yeah.
More power to you.
And then smell like roses for 50 days after.
Yeah.
And so, and then so.
I wonder what this president's going to smell like.
Ashes. But anyway, that's a different thing. So the Brotherhood pretty much was this group of people that were all dealing drugs before they got turned on to acid, and they were into reds and bennies, and then the heroin and the coke came a little bit, and all these different, drugs started hitting the scene, and then vitamins were real popular. The spacemen took vitamins and all that stuff. Oh yeah, take your multivitamins and shit. And then so when they got turned on to the acid, then it was like, whoa, there's a pill you can take and you can see God. Well, little did we know at the time that they gave Tim Leary 150 million hits to just hand out to everybody and get everybody strung up. He was working with the people that funded the Beatles and all the rock and roll druid thing in the 50s and the late 40s for the Queen, for the Queen of England's drug trip like they did in the 1600s with the Opium Wars. It was all based on the same scenario in the druid love dances and rejuvenation festivals on the equinoxes and the solstices and so they wanted to reenact these things, and so Tim Leary, started pushing, well, we need to have these outside events, and then other people started pushing it, and Kesey, of course, he was the opposite of Leary, was the, Buddhist, self-centered, clinical guy, and then Ken Kesey was the alcoholic drug clowns. Hey, let's just have a good time and dress up and be stupid.
I was
and
like,
funny.
Johnny Carson and what's his name? Ed McMurray.
Ed McMahon.
Ed McMahon, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, excuse me.
Pretty much straight.
But I mean,
Thanks, Andy.
don't hit me.
And then pretty
don't
much the straight
take
guy
that
and
off TV too.
the straight guy and the
Bullshit.
the straight man and the funny guy. Which one are you?
Ed McMahon, I don't want to be that fat though, dang it. I mean, that large.
Hey,
Hayes
Anyway.
for horses.
so a lot of people don't know this stuff. A lot of people, even before Orange Sunshine came out in that book, Eddie Spaghetti, Chuck Mandel, all those guys did not know who the Blue Jackets were from the 7th grade. And actually, Lizard told me, hey, if only we know about that and stuff, because those people weren't around. And then so I'm the only one that knew about that. And if I hadn't have told them about that and all the Disneyland stuff and my good friend Butch and all the other bros, Gary and Mike Beeson and stuff, you guys would all be out there thinking that all these other guys that came in from Western High School and stuff were, I started the Brotherhood.
I don't care. I was minding my own business, having a good time. I had some good friends. All I wanted to do is get loaded, and I got loaded. I smoked this, my brains until it rolled on the ground. But I picked it all up and
Look at your camera shot. So why'd you turn your chair and shit? Put your back on your mark and get your ass over there. Thank you. You look beautiful. Doesn't George look beautiful out there, folks? We finally got George Dumes, Crazy George, up here on this TV station. In fact, Sandy, are you in there? You want to roll that clip of George and Dick Dale? This is the second drummer. Anyway, enough said. Okay, shut up and listen because our microphones are on. Please. Only God can talk. Sandra's God in there. That was George. Dick Dell and the Deltones, 1960 or 61.
Almost the end of 60.
Harmony Park.
Yeah.
That's what we were thinking of, that place where Gordon lives.
Yeah.
Harmony Park.
Yep.
Hey, that was Dick Dale in the Deltones with Brother George. Yeah, cruising in, back in the days, you played the Rendezvous and all them places, Harmony Park and
We played down at the Aragon Ballroom. It was the Cheetah. Well, Aragon Ballroom was where Lawrence Welk used to play years ago.
Yeah, man. We took
Bring
those
a lot
guys.
of people, a lot of good big bands there, I guess Tommy Dorsey and the last stragglers that were alive played in Santa Monica on that wharf.
Oh, definitely, man.
And
Definitely.
it's still there.
Now the same thing's happening in Santa Cruz. We got all these guys that are buried alive playing out there on the wharf. Oh yeah.
This place
we're
held
talking about
5,000 people.
Yeah.
It danced 3,000 and set 2. The capacity, 5,000 people. That's
Yep.
a lot of people in there,
Yeah, back in them days, but hey,
At
the birds.
$2.50 a pop,
Yeah. That's why they're still doing it to this day, but 100 and 250 a
Yeah,
pop.
now it's 200.
We haven't shown that Orange Sunshine clip yet.
Oh, let's show the Orange Sunshine clip so our folks at home know what the heck Orange Sunshine is and what it's all about. Orange Sunshine was LSD, and Ozzy made Purple Haze. Jimi Hendrix took that. The Brotherhood made Rainbow Bridge. Here we go, down the road of.
Is the most powerful substance that a human being has ever developed for influencing the mind. I've used the comparison of nuclear energy or a fissionable material. I think that in the right hands and scientific and disciplined and hopeful people, it will bring about change.
The latter part of the 60s was divisive in the extreme.
The youth of the entire globe were liberated beyond fear of consequences that may come about by trying to be free.
And it became more and more polarizing.
And the government didn't know what to do with that. They wanted everybody to get out there and put their uniform on and go fight.
There was civil unrest, there was violence in the streets,
It was two societies.
and the psychedelic revolution occurred within the context of this terrible war that was going on.
Maybe it is insane to be against what's happening in the United States today. Maybe it's insane to try to have hope that something can be done about it. So if that's insane, count me in.
Bill Stout reports from Laguna Beach in California.
The Brotherhood of Eternal Love was existing at that time for about a year, I guess. They all were, like bees without a hive, and they were looking for jobs. And where'd they find jobs? The city of Laguna Beach hired them to work in the Parks Department.
The vibe was a truly very loving thing. I had heard about, Griggs wanted to get an island and all this stuff. I said, I could only imagine buying into that. I thought it was a pretty neat deal the way it was there.
The hash was at this house, and the pot was at this house, the LSD was at that house. But you could go to any of those houses and everybody, well, I'll have to run over to the red house and get it for you, So.
Nobody believed that there was this huge organization in Orange County at the time that had its tentacles out selling LSD and marijuana and hash all over the country, all over the world, in fact.
I jump on Ariane Afghan Airlines. I put on my Sir Guy's suit. Looked out, and the suitcase was loaded. I mean, they made the suitcase around the hash, for the support and everything.
Let me tell you about the beginnings of hash smuggling.
We were all surfing. We had surfboards, so I thought, I'll just get a surfboard. Colorado surfboard. Get a little X-Acto knife, cut the little patch out, put the 10 pounds in there, sold that in 30 minutes, made 10,000. That started it.
Because everybody knew about the Brotherhood. All the kids I went to school with knew about the Brotherhood.
I ran with them, yeah. I did a lot of things for them.
My name is Mike Henson, and I knew the Brotherhood.
We went totally from look at me, to don't look at me, don't ask my name, don't take my picture.
People were willing to be completely destroyed professionally to keep on doing what they felt was just the right thing to do.
The beginning of it was not a drug thing. It wasn't a thing about drugs. It was about God.
It wasn't. We didn't consider ourselves smugglers or gangsters. We were kind of a spiritual group of brothers and sisters.
The old BNDD, the predecessor to the DEA, they were convinced that the Sicilian Mafia was bringing in all the drugs
and sat down in the bed next to him and laid my 9mm across his head and said, "Hi, I hear you're looking for me."
We know that there is this organization, and they are transporting dope.
A major source of drugs is Mexico, via smugglers.
Were they barrel-shaped?
Yeah.
Okay, right. You did some orange sunshine, Peter.
We were just three guys working at the North Cape. Neil, John, and I.
This guy walks up to me with a picture of me. He says, "You David Hall?" I said, "Nope."
We are everywhere, and we're happy, and we're free, and we're going to make the world free.
And so that's Orange Sunshine. That's this documentary.
LSD is the most powerful substance
making
that
and all that
human
stuff.
being has ever developed for.
I guess for a few years now, but they kind of stopped production on it and stuff. And Nick's book came out already. That's doing pretty good, I guess. And so we were listening to all these people talking these stories that really had no idea who the Brotherhood was or who they were, and the guys from Long Beach said that we were motorcycle guys. That's Ed May and those guys that wrote the Brotherhood of Eternal Love, the Hippie Mafia, and then the Orange Sunshine guys, like I said, got as far as me. They didn't know who the Blue Jackets were, and they don't know all that history. Just covered what I said, but they didn't really pick up on all what happened during that time with the boys. And then it goes on and on. So at this time, actually, according to history, there's not one original Brotherhood that's been interviewed on TV or on the papers or anything, except before time began. And then I'm sure that you'd find us at the realm of the densely packed and the eternal realm forever. Because when you get into that eye in the pyramid, it's the all-seeing eye of every eye, and everybody's eyes there, man. So it's aye, Captain, aye, matey. I got bused. I went to, when I got out of the service, and I was going to college up in West Valley College, and Freddie Tunnel, JC's and Tommy's little brother, came up to go to college, and Tommy came up because Johnny Valala and Travis Ashbrook were snitching people off. And you know about that, right? And then, yeah, for a fact. And then so they came up to me at my house because I was going to college, and my dad was middle class and stuff, and then everything. So they got jobs.
I'd like not to know.
Yeah, they got jobs and everything, and me and Freddie were going to school. In the meantime, we're turning on West Valley College to all the acid and pot, and the Doobie Brothers and the Monkees and all these people, and the Chocolate Watch Band and some of those people, and yeah, John Swans and them, and the Sherman brothers, and quite a few people. And Northern California, well then Freddie and them went back down again into Orange County, and then they sent the Joker, Buddy Morgan, and gave my address. He calls me, I come and pick him up, because, you know, I'd met him once or twice, but Freddie gave him my number, and he was one of those guys from Westminster, Buena Park, Western High School guys with Gordon and Wally Spoon and Ronnie Kilcollins.
I
And
wonder where Wally is.
yeah, and all those guys, and
Hope he's doing all right, not alive.
yeah, Bobby Patton, and all kinds of guys and stuff. Bobby Black, Mike Beeson, all these guys and stuff were, well, those guys were Anaheim guys, but there was, like, the Westminster guys came in more at the 10th, 11th grade and stuff, you know, 12th grade and stuff, where the Anaheim guys were from the 7th grade on up to the 10th grade and stuff, where they formed their allegiance and stuff and their bonds. But then when they all started dealing these drugs, and it wasn't acid, it was like, you know, then they started forming other connections.
Excuse me, but see, what brought me into Anaheim was Harmony Park. And then I met a few other people, and I kept going there. My sister lived in off of some road in Anaheim anyway. And I went to a pool hall, and I met a bunch of people there. And then, but that was about it on that.
Who'd you meet at the pool hall?
Oh, God, you know.
Where was the pool hall?
Anaheim.
Oh, the stables then.
Yeah.
You were in there with Spaghetti and...
Yeah.
And,
what's his name I was about to say, and I can't remember it, but...
Yeah, all the boys hung out there at that time. What's his name?
Wally Spoon, that's who it was.
Yeah, those guys hung out. Everybody hung out at the stables. That was like a dope dealing thing. I missed all that. I was gone in the service at those times.
I didn't go there that much because I was playing music, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what brought me over there, and then I met those guys.
Well, you ran into Gordon pretty much, Black Bart, right?
Yeah. And then after that, I ended up, because of some nice person put...
Black Bart's on that wanted poster, Gordon Sexton. He's on our most wanted poster that we're selling. Yeah, so he's on there too. A lot of the brothers, George didn't make it. A lot of the brothers didn't make it because they weren't in that particular area at that particular time for that particular circumstances that they could actually charge somebody with. So there was quite a few of the brothers that weren't on there, and some of the brothers that were brothers that we don't know who the hell they are. Huh? But hey, what can you say, man? It's like you never know what's going to come up next. And then so now with all these stories coming out, and I was giving William and them guys time, you know, to get this documentary done and stuff. I've got my book. I wrote a book. I got 3 screenplays. I want to do my movie. I got hours and hours and hours of TV shows here. Plus, I've got from the 80s. I've got films of everybody from John Lee Hooker to Coco Taylor to Thunder and Lightning and Mose Allison and Eddie Cleanhead Vincent. I got so many films that I filmed for all this time with all my Brotherhood friends and stuff, and all the musicians part that, you know, and all of our friends that have been, you know, dealing pot for 40 years and stuff, and carrying on this what do you call it? Oh, hey, before we go any farther, while we got everybody witness and we're talking about this, Sandy, could you show the 3 cities that rule the world right now? And so you guys got to know who you're working for. And this is why we've been fighting these guys our whole life.
And what are they planning for the
No
future
audio.
of humanity? The answer to this puzzling question can be found within the boundaries of 3 of the world's most powerful cities. Those 3 cities belong to no nation and pay no taxes. They are Washington's District of Columbia, which is not part of the city of Washington or of the United States, the inner city of London, which is not part of London or England, and Vatican City, which is not part of Rome or Italy. These cities, called city-states, have their own independent flag, their own separate laws, and their own separate identity.
Vatican City is in fact a state, the smallest principality in the world. It lies on the banks of the Tiber, completely surrounded by the city of Rome. Its status as a separate state emerged from the Lateran Agreements of February 1929. It has its own newspaper, postal service, radio and television station, its own flag, and a population of about 1,000.
The Vatican also has its own army of Swiss guards, and it even has its own prison. The Vatican rules over approximately 2 billion of the world's 6.1 billion people. The colossal wealth of the Vatican includes enormous investments with the Rothschilds in Britain, France, and the USA, and with giant oil and weapons corporations like Shell and General Electric. The Vatican solid gold bullion worth billions is stored with the Rothschild-controlled Bank of England and the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank. The Catholic Church is the biggest financial power, wealth accumulator, and property owner in existence, possessing more material wealth than any bank, corporation, giant trust, or government anywhere on the globe. The Pope, who is the visible ruler of this colossal global wealth, is one of the richest men on earth. While 2/3 of the world earns less than $2 a day, and 1/5 of the world is underfed or starving to death, the Vatican hoards the world's wealth, profits from it on the stock market, and at the same time preaches about giving. How did the Pope and Vatican accumulate all that wealth over the millennium? One method was to put a price tag on sin. Many bishops and popes actively marketed guilt, sin, and fear for profit by selling indulgences. Worshippers were encouraged to prepay for sins they hadn't yet committed and get pardoned ahead of time. Those who didn't pay up risked eternal damnation in Satan's oven. Pope Leo X rebuilt St. Peter's Basilica, selling tickets out of hell and tickets to heaven. During the Dark Ages, the Catholic Church not only hoarded the wealth they collected from the poor, but hoarded knowledge. They kept the masses ignorant and in the dark by denying them a basic education. Like Vatican City, London's inner city is also a privately owned corporation or city-state, located right smack in the heart of Greater London. It became a sovereign state in 1694 when King William III of Orange privatized and turned the Bank of England over to the bankers. By 1812, Nathan Rothschild crashed the English stock market and scammed control of the Bank of England. Today, the city-state of London is the world's financial power center and the wealthiest square mile on the face of the earth. It houses the Rothschild-controlled Bank of England, Lloyd's of London, the London Stock Exchange, all British banks, the branch offices of 385 foreign banks, and 70 U.S. banks. It has its own courts, its own laws, its own flag, and its own police force. It's not part of Greater London or England or the British Commonwealth and pays no taxes. The city-state of London houses Fleet Street's newspaper and publishing monopolies. It is also the headquarters for worldwide English Freemasonry and headquarters for the worldwide money cartel known as the Crown. Contrary to popular belief, the Crown is not the royal family or the British monarch. The Crown is the private corporate city-state of London. It has a council of 12 members who rule the corporation under a mayor called the Lord Mayor. The Lord Mayor and his 12-member council serve as proxies or representatives who sit in for 13 of the world's wealthiest, most powerful banking families. This ring of 13 ruling families includes the Rothschild family, the Warburg family, the Oppenheimer family, and the Schiff family. These families and their descendants run the Crown Corporation of London. The Crown Corporation holds the title to worldwide Crown land in Crown colonies like Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. The British Parliament and the British Prime Minister serve as a public front for the hidden power of these ruling Crown families. Like the city-state of London and the Vatican, a third city-state was officially created in 1982. That city-state is called the District of Columbia and is located on 10 square miles of land in the heart of Washington. The District of Columbia flies its own flag and has its own independent constitution. Although geographically separate, the city-states of London, the Vatican, and the District of Columbia are one interlocking empire called Empire of the City. The flag of Washington's District of Columbia has 3 red stars, one for each city-state in the 3-city empire. This corporate empire of 3 city-states controls the world economically through London's inner city, militarily through the District of Columbia, and spiritually through the Vatican. The Constitution for the District of Columbia operates under a tyrannical Roman law known as Lex Fori, which bears no resemblance to the U.S. Constitution. When Congress passed the Act of 1871, it created a separate corporate government for the District of Columbia. This treasonous act allowed the District of Columbia to operate as a corporation outside the original Constitution of the United States and outside of the best interests of American citizens. Corporation of the United States. Like Canada and Australia, whose leaders are prime ministers of the Queen and whose land is called Crown land, the United States is just another Crown colony. Crown colonies are controlled by the empire of 3 city-states. At the center of each city-state is a towering, phallic-shaped stone monument called an obelisk that points skyward. In D.C. city-state, the obelisk, known as the Washington Monument, was dedicated to Freemason George Washington by the Freemason Grand Lodge of the District of Columbia. The secretive Brotherhood of Freemasons laid the Washington Obelisk's cornerstone in 1848 and contributed 22 Masonic memorial stones. 250 Masonic lodges financed the Washington Monument obelisk, including the Knights Templar Masonic Order. At the heart of London city-state is a 187-ton, 69-foot-tall Egyptian obelisk called Cleopatra's Needle. It was transported from Egypt and erected on the banks of the River Thames. In Vatican City, another Egyptian obelisk towers high above St. Peter's Square. What exactly is an obelisk? Obelisks are phallic-shaped monuments honoring the pagan sun god of ancient Egypt called Amun-Ra. The spirit of this pagan god is said to reside within the obelisk. Obelisks symbolize the phallus and fertility. At the base of the obelisk is a sunwheel circle symbolizing the vagina. Together, they depict male and female sexual union. Worshippers of Amun believe Amun is the supreme god and creator of all things, and can transform himself into other gods, like Osiris, the god of the underworld, or Seth, the god of evil and chaos. Did the world wars, revolutions, and big events of human history evolve naturally, or were they calculated and pre-planned? If they were pre-planned, who planned them, and what are they planning for the future of humanity? The answer to this puzzling question can be found within the boundaries of 3 of the world's most powerful cities. Those 3 cities belong to no nation and pay no taxes. They are Washington's District of Columbia, which is not part of the city of Washington or of the United States, the inner city of London, which is not part of London or England, and Vatican City, which is not part of Rome or Italy. These cities, called city-states, have their own independent flag, their own separate laws, and their own separate identity.
Vatican City is in fact a state, the smallest principality in the world. It lies on the banks of the Tiber, completely surrounded by the city of Rome. Its status as a separate state emerged from the Lateran Agreements of February 1929. It has its own newspaper, postal service, radio and television station, its own flag, and a population of about 1,000.
The Vatican also has its own army of Swiss guards, and it even has its own prison. The Vatican rules over approximately 2 billion of the world's 6.1 billion people. The colossal wealth of the Vatican includes enormous investments with the Rothschilds in Britain, France, and the USA, and with giant oil and weapons corporations like Shell and General Electric. The Vatican solid gold bullion worth billions is stored with the Rothschild-controlled Bank of England and the U.S. Federal Reserve Bank. The Catholic Church is the biggest financial power, wealth accumulator, and property owner in existence, possessing more material wealth than any bank, corporation, giant trust, or government anywhere on the globe. The Pope, who is the visible ruler of this colossal global wealth, is one of the richest men on earth. While 2/3 of the world earns less than $2 a day, and 1/5 of the world is underfed or starving to death, the Vatican hoards the world's wealth, profits from it on the stock market, and at the same time preaches about giving. How did the Pope and Vatican accumulate all that wealth over the millennium? One method was to put a price tag on sin. Many bishops and popes actively marketed guilt, sin, and fear for profit by selling indulgences. Worshippers were encouraged to prepay for sins they hadn't yet committed and get pardoned ahead of time. Those who didn't pay up risked eternal damnation in Satan's oven. Pope Leo X rebuilt St. Peter's Basilica, selling tickets out of hell and tickets to heaven. During the Dark Ages, the Catholic Church not only hoarded the wealth they collected from the poor, but hoarded knowledge. They kept the masses ignorant and in the dark by denying them a basic education. Like Vatican City, London's inner city is also a privately owned corporation or city-state, located right smack in the heart of Greater London. It became a sovereign state in 1694 when King William III of Orange privatized and turned the Bank of England over to the bankers. By 1812, Nathan Rothschild crashed the English stock market and scammed control of the Bank of England. Today, the city-state of London is the world's financial power center and the wealthiest square mile on the face of the earth. It houses the Rothschild-controlled Bank of England, Lloyd's of London, the London Stock Exchange, all British banks, the branch offices of 385 foreign banks, and 70 U.S. banks. It has its own courts, its own laws, its own flag, and its own police force. It's not part of Greater London or England or the British Commonwealth and pays no taxes. The city-state of London houses Fleet Street's newspaper and publishing monopolies. It is also the headquarters for worldwide English Freemasonry and headquarters for the worldwide money cartel known as the Crown. Contrary to popular belief, the Crown is not the royal family or the British monarch. The Crown is the private corporate city-state of London. It has a council of 12 members who rule the corporation under a mayor called the Lord Mayor. The Lord Mayor and his 12-member council serve as proxies or representatives who sit in for 13 of the world's wealthiest, most powerful banking families. This ring of 13 ruling families includes the Rothschild family, the Warburg family, the Oppenheimer family, and the Schiff family. These families and their descendants run the Crown Corporation of London. The Crown Corporation holds the title to worldwide Crown land in Crown colonies like Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. The British Parliament and the British Prime Minister serve as a public front for the hidden power of these ruling Crown families. Like the city-state of London and the Vatican, a third city-state was officially created in 1982. That city-state is called the District of Columbia and is located on 10 square miles of land in the heart of Washington. The District of Columbia flies its own flag and has its own independent constitution. Although geographically separate, the city-states of London, the Vatican, and the District of Columbia are one interlocking empire called Empire of the City. The flag of Washington's District of Columbia has 3 red stars, one for each city-state in the 3-city empire. This corporate empire of 3 city-states controls the world economically through London's inner city, militarily through the District of Columbia, and spiritually through the Vatican. The Constitution for the District of Columbia operates under a tyrannical Roman law known as Lex Fori, which bears no resemblance to the U.S. Constitution. When Congress passed the Act of 1871, it created a separate corporate government for the District of Columbia. This treasonous act allowed the District of Columbia to operate as a corporation outside the original Constitution of the United States and outside of the best interests of American citizens. Corporation of the United States. Like Canada and Australia, whose leaders are prime ministers of the Queen and whose land is called Crown land, the United States is just another Crown colony. Crown colonies are controlled by the empire of 3 city-states. At the center of each city-state is a towering, phallic-shaped stone monument called an obelisk that points skyward. In D.C. city-state, the obelisk, known as the Washington Monument, was dedicated to Freemason George Washington by the Freemason Grand Lodge of the District of Columbia. The secretive Brotherhood of Freemasons laid the Washington Obelisk's cornerstone in 1848 and contributed 22 Masonic memorial stones. 250 Masonic lodges financed the Washington Monument obelisk, including the Knights Templar Masonic Order. At the heart of London city-state is a 187-ton, 69-foot-tall Egyptian obelisk called Cleopatra's Needle. It was transported from Egypt and erected on the banks of the River Thames. In Vatican City, another Egyptian obelisk towers high above St. Peter's Square. What exactly is an obelisk? Obelisks are phallic-shaped monuments honoring the pagan sun god of ancient Egypt called Amun-Ra. The spirit of this pagan god is said to reside within the obelisk.
The 3 cities that rule the world that we didn't
symbolize
know.
the phallus and
You
fertility.
think it's all good for
At
the
the base
District
of
of
the
Columbia and
obelisk
them not
is
to
a
be part of
sun-wheel
our country?
circle
And them
symbolizing
not
the
our country?
vagina. Together,
Columbia?
they depict male
The
and
District
female
of Columbia,
sexual
Washington,
union.
D.C.
Worshippers of Amun believe Amun is the supreme
in our
God
own
and creator
country.
of all things, and can transform himself
That's-
into other gods.
that's
like
not part of
Osiris,
our
the god of the
country,
underworld,
George.
or Seth, the
They
god of
just,
evil.
this whole movie's been telling you they're not part of our country.
I know. I mean, the District of Columbia is Columbia, isn't it? In Columbia? Like, what do you call it? The people, the Columbians?
No, it's in the District of Columbia, in Washington, D.C.
Okay, in our country.
That's not of our country. This movie's just been telling you that they made a thing saying that they're part of the 3 cities, Empire of the Sun, with inner city London, the Vatican, and Washington, D.C., the cross, the crown, and the sword. The crown is the money, inner city London. The cross is the Vatican, the one God, and the sword, the military, is Washington, D.C. Who's our military? Who's doing all the military? That's who's doing this, and they're all Egyptians related. Every president is related to Egypt, back to Rome, to Jesus Christ, to Caesar, to Hitler, to the whole scam, to Madonna, Brad Pitt,
Where do they
Marilyn
get
Monroe.
off?
Huh?
Where do they get off if they're not a part of our country?
That's what I've been asking everybody else, but everybody wants to go vote. And I'm saying, you're going to vote for these people that aren't part of our country? They're under, if you watch this movie, it tells you that they're under the king of the queen. We're a colony of England.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have to pay taxes or nothing to
I
these
know.
people.
Who came up with that crap?
They did it in 1826. They made the United States a corporation, and when they made the War of 1812, when they burnt Washington down, they burnt all the 13th Amendment, where it gave all the presidents the powers to subservient to the royalty of England. And that they could never have those titles, but they're all related. They're 33-degree Masons. They're all blood mines. They're all interbred. The whole thing. So why would people go up and ask these people permission to do anything? They're fucking lying. Their whole scam's a lie. Oh, well, let's just go ahead and do this because, gee, what else will work? We might as well give them all our money and have, be slaves and shit. Why not?
Well, you can,
We're too stupid to figure fucking something else out.
I can't figure that one out either, the Tea Party when they came over with the boat. And
How come we had to pay the money back? How come we had to pay the money back for losing when we won the war, and they taxed us our booze so they could pay the money they borrowed from the war to the people that we won the war from, and guess what all them people they taxed the booze on told them? This right here.
Yeah.
In your neck.
I like that one.
Fuck you in your neck.
Yeah,
And they
right.
went up in the hills and started making moonshine. They didn't pay them. Those people,
Yeah,
they
come on.
didn't have
Up
enough
in the
people to
mountains.
enforce that
You got
or
plenty
to
of
enforce all
room,
them wills.
man.
They just put all them wills and paper and all them laws on paper like they did at The Hague way back in Amsterdam. And then when they got enough people and guns to enforce it, they went around and said, oh, this is the law. It's always been the law. And if you don't do it, we're going to fucking take your money and your property. And that's what they're doing. 6 years ago, on this TV show, I was telling people how they're going to take your property. I can go back and show you the report and everything, how they're going to take your property and all this other stuff that's been happening. If you want to see it, I'll go back there and we'll show you where we said this and informed you people. You didn't want to listen then either. And you don't want to listen now. You know what I say?
Say I had 1,000.
What's the other signal to that one? Fuck you in your neck. You deserve what you get. I'm tired of trying to protect you people. You're on your own. The Brotherhood of Eternal Love is just what it says. I got mine and you got yours. Let's grab a big stack and make a stack and buy a new car and caviar and get hip with the Eagles and play the fucking rich man, poor man bullshit, because all them fucking punks had all kinds of money and guitars and could go surfing, and Henson and all them rich punks can go traveling all around the world. Hey, oh wow. Anybody can do that with money. You can do anything. Look at these Nazis in our government are doing. Huh? George?
Yeah.
What do you have to say about the Brotherhood?
Just,
How much time we got?
I'd say about 10,000 acres. And then come and get me. See how good you are.
I would say just
In all
one-on-one,
sincerity.
one-on-one,
All sincerity. Want to get this nice and even?
What
Here,
happened?
Listen to this. There's a kiss for you.
That's George. That's George showing his intellect.
Effervescence.
That's George's intellect right there. He's exposing his.
No, I'm just tired of it, you know.
He's exposing this superior
I
man
can stand
to
up straight. I have
to
good posture.
to
I
the
hope.
inferior
My
people
back
that are running
hurts
this
like hell.
city and government. You guys need
My
to take a
back.
flying fuck off a rolling donut and get the fuck out of town. Get out of our buildings. You're breathing fucking gas from your ass instead of fucking oxygen with them cars you're driving around. How much time we got left? Can we mac on Santa Cruz some more? We got 3 minutes to get you fucking idiots that are gonna vote out there to. Who are we supposed to vote for, Sandra? Roseanne Barr. If you don't know who Roseanne Barr, you're just as bad as I am, so you better vote for her. Fuck the rest of them. And if not, they're going to fuck you, dude. They're going to fuck you anyway if you stand up and let them. The only time evil people can do shit when good people stand by and do nothing. That means I don't care. It doesn't bother me. It's got nothing to do with me. You just wait and you see, you fools. You got you guys asking permission to smoke a joint. I've been smoking weed all my life. Have you?
Since I was 14.
We never fucking asked these guys. We've been smoking weed all our life. What the?
And I'm 69.
I'm 68. So, I mean, you know, these guys are just running most of you people on bullshit. They're just telling you all this bullshit and you're buying into it. Well, good for you, but don't try to push it on me because you know what? It's your fantasy. The only thing we got to do here is live. And if you don't want to do evil, then you got to live because evil is live spelled backwards. So, you know what I'm saying? Fucking get with the program.
Yeah.
If it's doing good, it's helping everybody else on the planet, and you're helping yourself. If you're doing good for yourself, you're doing good for everybody else on the planet. You're helping everything else. And then, so that's a good thing. You're in the majority. So, in the meantime, you fat cats in town, we need some cash down here at Community TV. We need to keep this place going and get some money down here. We're gonna have to come up with ways to make some money. We got to get some of you fat musicians and politicians and all you fuckers that are ripping off everybody right now to spread some of that shit back down here so we can have at least a little voice in all of this Ted Turner financed bullshit that they're pushing. You want to see BS? Go to CBS. You want to see all BS? Go to ABC. You want to see the truth? Come see me at Community TV. And George, too. He'll tell you the truth. What's the truth, George?
What it was to begin with.